from London. It's absolutely scorching out there. It's 30 degrees, it's very bright, so rather than squinting at the camera, I thought I'd retreat indoors here into the kitchen for a bit of a mid-year catch-up here on the channel. I want to look back at how my language learning and yours has been going this year, about the content that I've shared with you on howtogetfluent.com and here on the channel, and to look forward to what's coming up in the next half of the year. But I also want to launch my new mini language learning sprint, which will be for the next 4 weeks. First of all though, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Gareth Popkins. Here we're looking at language learning from many angles, whether it's interviews, discussions of methods, a bit of vlogging, or interviews with inspiring language learners. So if you haven't yet subscribed for the vibe, please do. And you can get my free language learner webinar training by following the link underneath this video. First of all then, a bit of a catch up as to what's been going on with my language learning. I'm focusing this year on Japanese, as you'll know if you're a regular here. My aim's been to do half an hour a day, 7 days a week, and keeping more or less on target, and this is in advance of my first trip to Japan in October. I've so far clocked up 125 hours, and that's on today, which is the 23rd of July. Now, it may be a bit sad that I can give you such a precise figure. The reason for that is I'm a great believer in language logging as a way of building up a track record with your language learning. It helps you to know what you've actually done, and it helps you build up that track record, which then it becomes for me at least, more difficult to break. It's a sort of great motivational tool. At least that's what I think. In addition to my main focus on Japanese, I've been keeping my Basque ticking over in the background. Now, I've been learning Basque for 5 years. I'm an intermediate learner. And if you don't know about Basque, it's a language, a rather exotic language, not related to any other, which is spoken in at the western end of the Pyrenees, on the Spanish side and on the French side. And I'm continuing to have lessons. I aim to have 2 a week, although it doesn't always work out that way. And in fact, I've averaged about 5 a month in the first half of the year. But that was because I was travelling for some period, so I wasn't having any lessons at all. But basically the Basque has been ticking over in the background, mainly that conversational practice and preparation for each lesson. Also though, I do get a lot of audio input because I listen a lot to Basque radio, and that's one of the things I keep doing even when I'm on the road, using the phone, the app of the Basque Broadcasting Company. And I think getting audio input is one of the things you can keep doing no matter whatever else falls out of place in your life. It's one of the anchors, I like to think, when you're language learning, is good audio input at whatever level you are. And I've also attended a Basque event this year. I'm in the London Basque Society. That was a run, the Corica, which is part of a celebration of the Basque language. It's a big thing in the Basque country. It's held every 2 years. But there was a mini one held in northeast London by the Basque Society in the spring, and I went to that, and there's a vlog about that too. Because community to me is so important when you're language learning. Even if you're basically an introvert, as I am, using the language with other people, of course, is a great way into the culture. It's about forming relationships and giving it all some sort of meaning. And that's so important, I think. How's your language learning been going so far this year? Have you kept on track? Have you had a few false starts? Are there any particular problems that you're facing? Maybe something that could be a subject of a video here on the channel. Let me know in the comments below. Now, over on howtogetfluent.com, I've been keeping up my routine of doing a blog post every Sunday and continue to look at language learning methods. So recently we've had posts on why it's a great idea to learn a language in later life, as a retirement project, for example. I've been looking further at reading skills in the series on reading techniques. And also I had a piece at the start of the summer looking at the idea of whether it makes sense to go on an intensive language course abroad and things you need to look at when you're choosing a language school. Also, some inspiring interviews, for example with Simon Ager from omniglot.com, who has learnt to varying degrees of proficiency all 6 Celtic languages, and with Julia, somebody I met at the Polyglot Gathering a couple of years ago, who's learnt Swahili and was telling her of her motivations and her experiences with that African language. I've also, of course, been reporting back monthly on my Japanese progress and focusing in a lot on German, with pieces on German modal verbs, how to learn and remember the gender of German nouns, one of the most difficult things, I think, in the language, and what you need to do to get from an upper beginner into the intermediate level with German. And that was connected with the launch of my first product, my Focus on Fluency into Intermediate German course. And that will be coming around in the second launch later on in the year. But if you want to know about that, then you need to be on the mailing list. So do join up, follow the link underneath this video. What about then here on the channel? Well, once again, I've managed to keep a regular posting schedule, 2 videos a week. We've been keeping on with the shorter slot, usually on a Tuesday as a quick tip slot. And most recently, that's been the mini-series on working one-to-one with a teacher. And then I've been doing the longer videos on a Thursday. Often that's been vlogs. So for example, I've been vlogging Dubai earlier on in the year, and I've done the vlogs from the Polyglot Gathering. But also I've done interviews with movers and shakers, as I say, in the language learning world. So there was an interview with Jitka Braslovka, the organiser of the gathering, before it took place. Back in the spring, we talked to Lindsay and to Kirsten and to Shannon, the organisers of Women in Language Mark II, which was an online conference that took place earlier in the spring. And coming up in August, it's Langfest in Montreal. And so last week I spoke to Tetsu and Nicolas, 2 of the organisers, and they told us all about that. There are some more interviews lined up on the channel, so do look out for them. Also, of course, there'll be some vlogging when I get to Japan. I'm pretty sure of that in October. Another thing I'd like to do in the second half of the year, both on the blog and here on the channel, is to continue what I've been doing with the German, focusing in on that language in particular, and to do the same with Russian and Welsh. So there'll be more tutor-style videos and blog posts to help learners of those languages coming up on the site and on the channel. But not at the expense of the stuff you're used to here and over on the site, looking at methods, interviews, my own progress, and so on. Finally then, to come to my own progress, I wanted to announce my new language learning sprint for the next 4 weeks. I've got a lot more time than I normally have for this next month, and so I've decided to increase the amount of time I'm putting into my focus study on Japanese and really to ramp it up with the Basque as well. Now with Japanese, so far this year it's been, as I said, 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week. It's going to go up to at least an hour a day, 5 days a week. And I want to do an hour a day, 5 days a week with the Basque as well. Japanese, it will be more of the same, working with my core textbook, Japanese from Zero, but also doing a lot of flashcarding of the vocabulary because I'm not convinced at the moment that I'm getting an active command of the stuff I'm covering in the book. And the aim will be at the end of the month to start having one-to-one conversational practice with teachers over Skype. And maybe I'll record 1 or 2 of those to let you see me in action. We'll see how it goes. With Basque, I'll be continuing to have the Skype lessons, but also using a technique I really like, which is dictation, working with transcripts and audio to really sharpen up my listening skills and to focus in on the way connected speech works, the way our words mush together as we speak, and also really focusing my attention on items of vocabulary that I can't catch by checking with the transcript. And I'll be doing that with the Ariane B 2.1 book, which is one of the textbooks that I've got. And I'm trying out a 3rd teacher as well, just so I've got more flexibility and availability with teachers. So I've got my first session with him coming up tomorrow, actually, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's my language plan for the summer. That's what's coming up on the channel and on the site. Now, are there things you'd like me to cover here on the channel that I'm not doing enough of? Things you particularly like you'd like to see more of? Do let me know in the comments below. And in the same way, let me know what your plans are for your language learning in the next half of the year. Thanks a lot then, as always, for being with me. And of course, finally, I have to mention we crossed the 1,000 sub mark here on the channel. And we've also now just got to 1,200. So a big thank you again. And if you haven't yet subscribed, then your support would be very welcome. It really makes a difference. So thanks a lot for being with me, as I say. And I hope you'll be with me on the journey and let me know about yours in the next half year. Don't forget to subscribe for the vibe, throw me a thumbs up, tickle that bell, and share the bell. See you on Thursday. Bye.